I spent my entire high school life dreaming of one thing, Yale University. I had the grades, the extracurriculars, and the recommendation letters. My guidance counselor told me I had a real shot. I remember checking my email every single day for 2 months waiting for that interview invitation, the one that could change my entire future, but it never came. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I had failed. Then 4 years later, I found out the truth. The truth that destroyed my relationship with my family forever. My stepmother Vanessa had deleted that email the moment it arrived. She watched me cry myself to sleep for weeks. She held my hand and told me everything happens for a reason. And the craziest part is that she only admitted it because she needed money from me. The day she asked for a loan was the day her lies finally crumbled. My real mom passed away when I was 8 years old. Cancer. Fast and cruel. My dad remarried 2 years later to a woman named Vanessa. She seemed perfect at first. She smiled at me, cooked dinner, and told everyone she loved me like her own daughter. But something always felt off. Whenever I achieved something, she would change the subject. When I won the science fair, she said, "That's nice, honey, but your sister needs help with her homework." My sister is her real daughter, Chloe. Chloe was average in school, average in sports, average in everything. But Vanessa treated Chloe like a princess and treated me like a guest in my own home. My dad worked long hours. He didn't see it. Or maybe he didn't want to see it. I buried myself in my studies. I told myself that if I worked hard enough, I could escape. Yale was my ticket out. But Vanessa had other plans. Plans I never saw coming. Junior year of high school, I worked like a machine. I woke up at 5 a.m. to study before school and stayed up until midnight finishing essays. My teachers believed in me. My counselor, Mrs. Patterson, wrote me a beautiful recommendation letter. She said I was one of the best students she had seen in 20 years. I applied to Yale Early Action. The deadline was November 1st. I submitted everything on time. Then came the waiting. Yale sends interview invitations to promising candidates. It's not guaranteed, but it's a very good sign. Mrs. Patterson told me to check my email constantly because the invitations usually come in December. I checked every morning before school, every night before bed, and even during lunch on my phone. December came and went. January passed. Nothing. I remember sitting in Mrs. Patterson's office with tears in my eyes. She looked confused and said, "Madison, with your profile, I am shocked you didn't get an interview. I just assumed I wasn't good enough." I was wrong. In March, the final decision came. Rejected. Not even waitlisted. Just a flat no. I read that letter 5 times hoping the words would change, but they didn't. I locked myself in my room for 3 days. Vanessa knocked on my door and said, "See, honey, maybe Yale wasn't meant for you. Maybe you should look at community college like Chloe." Community college. I had a 4.3 GPA, and she suggested community college. I ended up going to a state university. It was fine. I made friends and got good grades. But every time I thought about Yale, my stomach hurt. I felt like a failure. For years later, I graduated with a degree in finance. I got a job at a small investment firm in Chicago. I was finally independent. I didn't need Vanessa or my dad anymore. Then out of nowhere, Vanessa called me crying. She said she needed to talk. I thought maybe something happened to my dad. I was worried. So I went home. That was my first mistake. I walked into my childhood home and immediately felt uncomfortable. The house looked different. Older. The carpets were stained and the furniture was worn out. My dad was sitting on the couch looking tired and small. Vanessa was wearing her fake smile. She poured me a glass of tea and said, "Madison, we need your help." I asked what was wrong. She said my dad had lost his job 2 years ago and they were drowning in debt. They had maxed out credit cards and the bank was threatening to take the house. Then she said the words that made my blood boil. "We need you to take out a loan for us, $20,000. You have a good job now and good credit. Please, honey, we're family." Family. She said the word family. I looked at my dad. He couldn't even look me in the eyes. I asked Vanessa, "Why didn't Chloe help? She has a job too." Vanessa's face changed. She got defensive and said, "Chloe has her own life. You're the successful one now, you owe us." I owe them. I didn't owe them anything. I told Vanessa I needed time to think about the loan. She didn't like that. She started yelling. After everything we did for you, after we raised you when your mom died, you ungrateful little. Then she said it. The thing she was never supposed to say. She said, I should have just let you go to Yale. Then maybe you wouldn't be so selfish. The room went silent. My dad looked up. I froze. I said, what do you mean you should have let me go to Yale? Vanessa's face turned white. She realized what she had done. She tried to backtrack and said, I didn't mean it like that, I just meant. I stood up with my voice shaking and said, Vanessa, tell me the truth right now. What did you do? She started crying fake tears and admitted it. She said the Yale interview email came in December of my senior year. She opened my laptop while I was at school. She read the email. And then she deleted it. She deleted my future because she didn't want me to be more successful than her daughter. I couldn't breathe. For years of thinking I wasn't good enough. For years of wondering what I did wrong. And it was her. The woman who pretended to be my mother had stolen my dream. I looked at my dad. He was crying and said, Madison, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believed him. But that didn't make it hurt less. I turned to Vanessa and said, you watched me cry, you watched me break, and you said nothing. She tried to grab my hand, but I pulled away. I said, you want a loan? Here is your loan. You get nothing. Not a single penny. And you know what else? I am done with you. Forever. I walked out of that house, and I haven't spoken to Vanessa since. My dad calls me sometimes. We're working on our relationship. But it's hard. I drove back to Chicago that night and cried for 3 hours. Not sad tears. Angry tears. But also relieved tears because finally I knew the truth. You might be expecting a big revenge. A lawsuit or a public shaming. But that's not what I did. My revenge was quieter and sweeter. I called my old high school counselor, Mrs. Patterson, and told her everything. She was furious. She contacted Yale and explained the situation. Yale doesn't usually reopen old applications, but they made an exception. They reviewed my file again. A month later, I got a letter. Not an acceptance because I was too old for that, but a letter of recognition. They said I was a qualified candidate and they regretted the circumstances. They invited me to apply for their graduate program with a scholarship. I am now 28 years old. I have a master's degree from Yale. I finished last spring. And on graduation day, I sent Vanessa a single postcard with a picture of me in my cap and gown holding my diploma. On the back, I wrote 2 words. Thank you. Sarcasm maybe, but also truth. Because her betrayal made me stronger and her mistake gave me the best revenge of all. Success. Here is what I learned. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most. Not because they hate you, but because they are scared of your light. Vanessa didn't delete that email because she hated me. She deleted it because she knew I was destined for greatness and her own daughter wasn't. That was her problem, not mine. If you are watching this and someone has stolen something from you, a dream, a relationship, an opportunity, do not let their betrayal define you. Let it fuel you. Let it push you to work harder, climb higher, and become undeniable. The best revenge is not destruction. It is living so well that your success becomes a mirror reflecting their failures. I am Madison Cole. I went to Yale. And I didn't need Vanessa's permission to shine. Thank you for listening to my story. If you have ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, know that you are not alone. Their actions do not determine your worth. Your actions do. Keep working. Keep dreaming. And one day you will look back at the person who tried to break you and you will smile. Not because you forgive them, but because you outgrew them. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear that they're enough. This is Madison. See you in the next story. And remember, your future belongs to you. No one else.